Bigme is probably the most notorious case of a company releasing devices at a rapid pace. They release so many devices, in fact at one point they had 14 of them in their lineup. Well, this fits that profile pretty much on the nose, but for a good reason, and we'll explain why in a second. This is the Inknote Color Plus Lite. You see, it was quite an intelligent roadmap and a bold move by Bigme. What they did is release their unit first, the Inknote Color Plus, at $699 USD, testing the market and basically being the only choice at that moment in time. Then came the Onyx Books Tab Ultra C, which released $100 less than the Bigme. Bigme had a thought. Remove the 4G wireless antenna, remove 2 gigs of RAM, cut the storage by half, and reduce the cost by $100, less than that of the Onyx Books Tab Ultra C, and now you have the Inknote Color Plus Lite. So let's get into the unit and see what it can do. We are going to look at things like the UI and the books and everything, but we're just going to kind of speed through it for good reason. This is the exact same experience as the Inknote Color Plus, which we have a ton of videos on, and you can check the video card up above for the review. For now, let's look at this unit. So we have the pen. It all starts with this. This pen has everything. It has a charging port via pogo pins, which is a magnet snap to the side of the device like so to charge the pen. You do not need to charge the pen to use it. You do not need to charge the pen to activate it like the Huawei. It simply is just for the additional features like the voice dictation, the remote page turns, and of course the completely necessary laser pointer at the back, so you can drive all the little kitties nuts, making them run up against the walls and stuff like that. I'm still not sure why it has a laser pointer. It is the only Wacom pen in the world that has a laser pointer on it that is used for e-paper, but basically this pen has everything under the sun, as well as using the same tips as everyone else in the industry, so that's a huge plus. Going into the unit itself, you have a drop down right here that has the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. You will see that there is no more 4G on this. That is one of the cost-cutting benefits of this unit, is that they got rid of the 4G antenna. You still get glow lights, you still get volume, you still get global handwriting, you still get the awesome EINK center, which is completely critical to the usability of the device. You have vivid enhancement, dark enhancement, color brightness, and 5 different modes, including image 256 HD, regular HD, normal, extreme, and regal, and we'll show you some of these when we get into the video comparison, yes, against this and its bigger brother, the Inknote Color Plus. Why we want to do that is because this has less RAM. That's really the only thing hindering its operation. You might say, well, it has half the storage. Well, you can mitigate that by just using the SD card down below and putting in a gigantic micro SD card, so the storage is of no consequence. It's up to the user. The speed of this, the actual RAM it has to access for memory, is different, so we'll have to see how that all comes into play. But you will see that this is fully equipped with everything, including Google Play. It has millions and millions of applications, and yes, the answer to every question of will I be able to download blank is yes. There will be nothing that you can put on this unit that won't work. It has a very high level of Android, and it will function with basically everything. You might say, why is it so choppy? What's happening right now? If you're a fair weather EINK fan, maybe you don't know what e-paper is about. We're not going to get into all that right now, but e-paper basically uses ink that bounces up and down, charged by electronics. So if you change it to extreme, you get a little bit more staining, and it just moves a little bit better. So there's always a trade-off when it comes to e-paper. It's not like your cell phone or your computer screen, which you're watching this video on. It's a little bit different, but videos will work. We'll show you that at the tail end of the video. Needless to say, very good option having Google Play. ChatGPT we're going to get into right now because it is the scariest thing on planet Earth. Basically what it is AI that is better than you as a human being in every possible way. For example, if I wanted to write a story, oh man, I'd get my little typewriter, I'd go to Starbucks and just, grab the bridge of my nose in exertion that I'm not able to write a proper story. But if I write this and just say, write me a story about a dog, and then you click send, it's gonna think, and in a few seconds it's going to write an entire story about a dog. I can't even, obviously you can put into words slower than your mind can think, but I can't even think a third of how fast that is. Never mind articulate that in any medium, either with my mouth or, writing it on paper, or just there's no possible way. It's just going on and on and on about a dog in a second. So it's basically artificial intelligence that's going to take over us all and create machines in underground caves and then come out and destroy us. So that's really some people's interpretations of ChatGPT. But moving on, let's go over to the Kindle, because Kindle is one of the best ecosystems in the world. It is probably, arguably, objectively the best in the world when it comes to content, variation, and just the amount of choice. Because they have the big names, they got the Stephen Kings, they got the highest, most sought after, top level licensed manga. I mean, there's nothing that's really left out. When you go to the Amazon Kindle application, it is a little bit of a struggle moving left and right, because remember, this is the app. This is the same one that's going to be on your phone. This is the same one that's going to be on your tablet. This is not a Kindle, it is the Kindle app. It's going to perform much different than your typical Amazon Kindle Scribe or Oasis, but all the same, it does work perfectly fine. You can change the font size, you can change the font type, and when you go into it, you can do long presses and everything comes up. And because it's the app, you get multiple colors of highlights, which is really nice because this is running color. You can take full advantage of that, of course, so that's all well and good. You do get the ability to do different things like change the margins, go to the settings in the text section. So if you go to more, there's a bunch of things you can do here. There's rulers and word wise and vocabulary builder. There's a ton of things that this allows you to do. It says gesture support from the bottom, right, up, left, down, right, cross, left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you just got to kind of get a little bit of a learning curve going, because you might not know that swipe from the top is go up, but the reading experience is completely unhindered by anything because it's a very fast unit. It's a very large unit, which you can take full advantage of what we're going to talk about next: graphic novels and manga. Why this is so useful on this device is because once I get rid of this prompt, look what happens. Not only does that look good, there's tons of function. So if I double tap on a cell, I go into a guided view, and that's really useful. Once I'm in here, it makes it exactly proportioned to my screen, and as I swipe, it goes to the next cell. It doesn't just move around willy-nilly. Some will be formatted differently based on the way that it actually looks, but it will always be perfectly catered to you. It's either called guided view or panel view. There's different kind of ways that they call it, but then you can double tap to get out of it like so, and then you get the full screen experience, at which point you can take advantage of pinch and zoom. Again, if you're worried about the speed, which we showed you in the review, you can always change all of that in the EINK center. So I can change it to extreme if I want, and then once I do, I get a much faster experience. You can see everything's very fluid now. It's very smooth. Doesn't look as good, obviously, because we're now telling the ePaper device, don't worry about the quality, just get my content to me quicker. And that's what it does. It's very fluid, and you will show you videos. This is most definitely very capable of doing videos. But before that, the most important part about this unit is the notes, because this is an eNote. It's a note-taking device. Up top, you can customize several different pens: pen, pencil, brush, ballpoint, eraser, highlight, whatever you want. You get 16 different colors as well. Really nice colors as well, honestly. These are some nice blues. We can go to a brush. My favorite's brush because it leaves the largest stroke, thus giving you the best kind of interpretation of what the color is going to look like. You can go back, you can do some yellows. And the beauty about Kaleido 3 is that they don't blur and blend into each other. They're very much completely separate from each other when it comes to the quality. You can see that there's no confusion as to where the line is separating the two colors. You also get a ton of different functions like shapes. You can insert various things from photos to recordings. You can do crop. You can do OCR, which basically is original character recognition, and that will translate and transcribe everything you write on a page. If we go to a new page like this, swiping over to the right, and we say my name, write my name, click on that, and in a second it should go through the entire book, not just the one page you did, and look for all the translations. Obviously it can't translate the color scribble, so it looks through the other things where I actually have writing, and it will automatically conform it and justify it to the top left corner, in which case you can continue writing and say Peter is cool. You can also ban slide, it's called, which basically means the capacitive touch goes away so you don't confuse your hand or anything touching the screen. Although it does have palm recognition where you can have 5 points on the screen and it doesn't have any effect on what you're doing. You also get export. Export is crucial to this unit because you can share via so many ways. Verification code sharing, QR code sharing. You can change this entire notebook into a QR. Someone will scan it on their end. You can just send it over via Facebook Messenger or whatever, or you can do other share, which scans your device for applications and it will say, do you want to share this via Google Chrome? Do you want to share this via Outlook? Do you want to share this via Gmail? It's going to give you all these options down below like this, and I can share via OneNote or Xmail or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or Line or basically any application that you download from the Google Play Store. The note-taking feel is adequate. We have seen devices that are significantly better than this, but this is better than the Onyx when it comes to feel. This has a good amount of vibration that kind of goes, I would say, halfway through the body of the pen and just kind of vibrates through your fingers, gives you some feedback, really lets you know where you are on the page. However, that is subjective because some people say, well, I like writing on a glass screen. Well, that's great. That's absolutely perfect. But that's not what the felt composite Wacom tips are for. They're not for writing on a piece of glass. And a lot of companies like Onyx and a couple others we won't mention are kind of guilty of that in that they don't feel that great, although they perform swimmingly. This one actually is a little bit of both. It performs great and it feels like you're writing on a page. It's not as good as a Fujitsu or a Sony, of course, but it definitely will get the job done. Now there's a few other things you can do on here, such as scanning document. This one's huge. We're going to use the back of a Kindle box here, and I'm just going to simply hover over the words like this. Once you do, all you do is press the camera button and it locks it in. You go over to what you just took a picture of, which is the back of a Kindle Scribe box, and it immediately writes everything for you the way it looks exactly on there, in line as well. Now all you do from here is you press export, and then you can confirm or check or continue writing yourself. So basically what it does is, a lot of people say, why do you have the cameras on it? Well, that's why Big Me puts cameras on it, so you can do document scanning. It is very useful because if you have to sign something, you can take a picture of it, sign it, and then send it back all on your device. You don't need to scan it, you don't need to print it, you don't need to drag and drop it from the device storage to your PC. It's very seamless, and that is the main advantage of having a camera on it. It's better to have something and not need it than need it and not have it. Meaning if I had to scan something and I don't have that option on my High Read or on my King Jim or something, well, this solves it. And evidently, based on the price point, the cameras didn't do much to affect the price. So I would say that it is a home run win. Now, the last thing we want to look at is the actual video playback speed. And for that, we need to bring in the Inknote Color Plus Big Boy. You know, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. There's not really any differences in the video. I can't pull how this is any slower than that, or that's any faster than this. It looks identical. And to show you guys, we have the same settings on both of these. We're going to go to EINK Center, and you'll see we have full refresh frequency 1, and then 0, 100, 0, and extreme on the top of both. So the RAM isn't of any consequence when doing one action. It may come into play when you have maybe a split screen mode or an in-video player laying on top of things, but per actual application by application basis, it doesn't seem to hinder the fact that this only has 4 gigs and this has 6 gigs of RAM. Lite versions of things are important. They give people a little bit more accessibility to things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. A $200 price difference between the Inknote Color Plus and the Lite version is substantial. For 95% of the same device, for a pretty significant amount of discount, is something that a lot of people wouldn't be able to pass up. If you want to grab one of these, check it out in our store. Thanks for watching.